Thank you for tuning in to Unprofessional News Industries. I'm your host, Max. Here is my news team. And here's our On the News team. Here is Daniel Moore. And here is Will Harris, our other on-the-scene news reporter. Thank you for tuning in to Unprofessional News Industries. I'm news anchor, Max. Critics of women's suffrage are predicting dire consequences if men abandon their monopoly on politics. Women are commonly accused of being inferior and subordinate to men. It's often understood their weak minds and delicate temperaments cannot survive the hurly-burly of public life. Suffragists are fighting for equal rights and representation of women. Their campaigns seem to be winning success at the height of the progressive era, and yet many progressives, while embracing other reforms, are reluctant to support women's suffrage. A woman's right to vote will hopefully seem as natural as her right to live, but the change will be a long struggle. Similar to the struggles of women, African Americans are struggling for their own rights. The passing of Plessy versus Ferguson further divided the whites and blacks in a nation founded on the belief that all humans possess the same unalienable rights. They especially faced foul treatment in the military as exemplified by the events in Cuba during the Spanish-American War. Recently, in Tampa, Florida, a riot broke out regarding racial tension. Let's go to Daniel, who's on the scene.
We're here live in Tampa, Florida, where riots have just broken out. Here I have an eyewitness. Now tell me, what prompted these black men to attack these white, respected soldiers?
What you mean? That ain't what I saw.
Well, what did you see?
I seen a black lady walking down the other side of the street, okay? And then some white soldiers went up and took her baby from her, alright?
Okay.
And then some black soldiers, they heard the riot, and they came up trying to help out. That's all they was trying to do. Alright? Then all of a sudden, the white folks start pulling out guns, and I
totally forgot what I'm supposed to. I'm glad we could shed some light on this side of the argument, which reveals who's truly at fault. Although it's sad this had to happen.
Thank you, Daniel, for that interesting point of view over black rights.
Right, folks, today we got 17-inch Smile Way heaters, all-terrain tires, BA engine. Let's check out the hood. Woo! Look at that, baby. Roar! That's a good looking truck. All right. Get out of here, boy. Next truck. All right, let's go look at this next truck. Here we got 450 V8, 5.4 liters. It's got some 20-inch wheel on these wheels, mud tires, straight pipe. All right, let's go look and see inside. Woo! That's your horsepower right there. This guy's 220 horsepower, 200-pound torque. Boy, let me tell you what, you want to go fast? This your truck. Next truck, let's go. Yee-hoo! All right here we got the 2009 Lily. It's nice, it's all right. It's okay if you want, a simple man truck. This is your truck right here. It's kind of slow. The 18-inch tire drawer wheel right here. We got 20-inch all-terrain tire. It's good truck, okay? Everyday truck. This is your truck right here. All right, let's go.
Now to you, Will.
I'm here outside the White House with a member of the National Women's Party. Let's hear about their protest.
We are the Silent Sentinels, members of the National Women's Party, and are out here protesting for the right for women to vote. We're outside the White House to show how serious we are in the need for equality for both men and women, and we will not rest until everyone gets their rights.
How do you feel about the Alice Paul arrest?
She was arrested for obstructing traffic, which makes absolutely no sense. She was peacefully protesting, and they came up with a ridiculous excuse to arrest her in an attempt to stop the protesting. I hear from members from our organization she has begun a hunger strike and is now being force-fed raw eggs through a feeding tube. We're going to court to protest the events of the Night of Terror. Alice Paul had a lasting legacy on the women's suffrage movement. The National Women's Party pushed Congress to pass and ratify the 19th Amendment, guaranteeing women the right to vote in 1920. By the 1880s, when African Americans, and poor whites looked like they might form a coalition in the South against the large interest in the South, you get a surge of extreme racism, and then you sort of get a converging of what becomes the solid South. And as a result of this, whites, poor whites, and wealthy whites begin to unite in the late 1880s against African Americans. Then they begin to shut African Americans out.
Thank you, Will. We have heard from two separate accounts of discrimination and citizens whose rights have been withheld from them. African Americans who have sought to defend their country are being discriminated against by that very same country. Women as well live under a constitution which states that all people are bestowed the same unalienable rights, but are shackled and not allowed to enjoy such rights. Our two first-hand accounts have shed light on instances in which people's rights have been withheld from them and have also been subject to foul treatment for attempting to exercise their natural rights. Thank you, and have a good evening.